He's out of line, but he's right.
As I sit here on the sidelines looking at this whole situation with Sony and Microsoft over the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, it reminds me that I am still on the fence about rejoining the Call of Duty ecosystem. But as a owner of a Series X and a PS5, right? I don't care about the whole thing with Call of Duty in the context of Sony having their feelings hurt. I really don't care. But I see where the problem is with Sony. See? They were talking all of this nonsense about, guess what? It was mostly the fan base. Let's be honest here. My exclusives, exclusives this, exclusives that, blah, blah, blah. PlayStation got all the exclusives. Microsoft ain't got no games, right? Right? We've heard it just verbatim. We heard that. So, why, Sony? Why are you so threatened by this transaction if your exclusives are such a floor of sustenance? Didn't what was the guy who used to run Sony, what's his name? I forgot his name. It escapes me right now. Y'all know it. Y'all know it. Sean Layton, I believe. Sean Layton said their exclusive ecosystem is not sustainable. Hence the reason why you're seeing Lion Jim Ryan put games on the PC, right? It all comes full circle, right? And then on top of that, you still have a PlayStation 5 that is difficult to find, yet you have risen the price for it in every place around the world except America, right? So imagine people still not being able to get their hands on a PlayStation 5 to have all of these consoles in-house just to sell a good 6 to 8 million copies of their exclusive games, which is no slouch. But let's do the ratio here. PlayStation 4 had like 110 million consoles sold, right? Yet, when the exclusives dropped, they were selling 6 to 8 million copies, depending on the game. Sometimes less than that. Right? So, imagine a current PS5 sales count that is a quarter of that, maybe? And then you ratio the 6 to 8 million to the 110 million lifetime sales, right? You ratio that to that, and you realize, and you come to this conclusion, possibly Sony ain't selling that many exclusives because PS5s are still hard to find, right? So how are they making their money? That's right, through Call of Duty, a game that everybody claims to despise, but it still sells pretty well. And then the microtransactions are the coup de grace of the whole thing. You know, when that money is funneled through microtransaction and sales money is funneled mostly through PlayStation 5. Let's be honest here, they sell the most the most copies of Call of Duty. You know why? Because one, it's the more popular console of the two that I'm talking about. And two, they have exclusive downloadable content, timed exclusives to that. That make you like, oh, people have FOMO. They want to play the new shit with their friends. So they're going to buy it mostly on the PlayStation 5. So now Microsoft is in the bracket of, guess what? They're in the bracket of turning that tide back onto them. Because let's be honest, back in the Xbox 360 days, they were doing the same thing as well. When the 360 time was outselling the PlayStation 3, which that changed at the end of the cycle, right? But now it's just war for COD. The thing is that Microsoft did not buy a company that didn't want to be sold. We all know about the situation with the sexual harassment, and we all know about how greedy and opportunistic Bobby Kotick was. And Bobby Kotick was letting all of this happen because he wanted to continue to make money. And his people that worked under him, they were making a lot of money for him. They was making him richer than what he should be, because what was he really doing? What was he really doing besides giving himself raises? He was allowing his staff that made him that money to get their raises, if you know what I mean, at the, how can we say, at the unfortunate sacrifice of a lot of women who worked there. That's not cool. You had a place dedicated to, I'm not going to even get into the detail of it. You already know the gritty details of what a lot of the people who worked at Activision Blizzard under Bobby Kotick were doing prior to this whole situation with Microsoft. You know what was going on. So the company was going down, like one way or the other. They were going down. And guess what? They decided to sell while it still has some relevancy. And Microsoft, in general, is a rich company. I mean, come on. That company is rich. They not Xbox over PlayStation rich, but in general, they're richer. They're a big company. So they decided to come in and like, you know what? This is a lucrative franchise. If we get rid of the bad seeds in Activision Blizzard and hiring some people, we might be able to salvage this whole Call of Duty thing and continue on. And they plan to do something that I'm very interested in. Stop Call of Duty games from being yearly titles. If you got every 2 years, I would be happy with that. Which means they will have to give more TLC and DLC to the games to keep the service running so they can refund it. Because if you're going to have people playing Call of Duty games for over a year, you got to make sure that shit is tight. So that I do admire if they go through on that. But let's get back on subject with this whole thing with Sony. Like I was saying before, they don't have enough of the consoles that they had in their they don't have enough sold to garner those massive first-party game sales. So to negate that whole thing of not having enough PS5 still in stock, they are going to, guess what, put the games on the PC, because the PC is a big market, right? So what's wrong with this picture? You got the fanboys crying foul. You got the ponies crying foul because they realized, they sat here and they talked so much shit about Microsoft. Oh, they don't have any exclusives. All their stuff is on PC. All that time, Microsoft, Xbox didn't care. You know why? Because they was making money off of the PC market. So now, all you fanboys who were speaking for Sony, which y'all realize y'all don't speak for no company. I don't give a damn for Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony. Stop speaking for these companies. Their actions are for profit. Let's get that straight. So you spoke for them. Once again, y'all put your foot in your mouth. And now, the very thing you were criticizing Microsoft for, Sony is doing, because it's a lucrative market. Y'all need to stop with this whole mindset thinking that your fanboy desires and your factions, your factional warfare is gonna bring these three companies money. No, okay? It's not gonna bring the money, but apparently exclusive content will. They don't give a damn if, they don't give a damn that I also own a Xbox. They don't care about that. Like, oh, how dare you buy our PlayStation exclusive games when you also own a Xbox? They don't give a fuck about that. And vice versa. They don't care. As long as you're spending money within their ecosystem, they don't care. And let's be honest, a lot of ecosystem money is stood to be lost through the PlayStation. If Microsoft gives you a better reason to buy Call of Duty on their own console, Game Pass maybe, and it's in legal documentation and expressions that Sony doesn't want this to happen. This is the same corporation that paid Capcom millions to keep Resident Evil Village off of Game Pass, right? So this whole thing in general is just like, I'm like, bruh, it's right there. That's right there in front of you. So all you ponies need to understand, they don't care about making you guys happy. Your money makes them happy. Your money makes them happy. And if you stand to spend your money elsewhere, they can do it. Basically, in a nutshell, they can do it to Microsoft, but Microsoft can't do it to them. It's the funniest shit. It's the funniest shit. But this is what it is. And I'm going to be honest with you. If Call of Duty, this merger goes through the way it does, and Call of Duty ends up on Game Pass, that may get me back into playing it. Be honest with you, it might get me back into playing it. I'm not gonna lie about it. Just like Halo Infinite got me back into playing Halo. Not multiplayer, but it got me back into playing Halo, and I'm talking about campaign. I even started the Master Chief Collection to go through it again. And this is what Sony fears the most, that you refound new interest, and people who left the Call of Duty franchise as gamers will come back, and they will come back where the deal is the best at. And it's no longer them. Full circle. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Fury. I'm here, and now I'm out. Peace.